6 weeks removed from the Lakers being the 12th seed and are currently listed as the favorites to win the West.
And as Jen mentioned the Reaves, but when you get the unsung guy, one time it was Rui Hachimura, and you get Austin Reaves, and now you got Lonnie Walker.
AD defensively on Steph. Tell me about that.
Man, he's the best defensive player in the league.
I mean, you guys, we all pretty much knew this series was going to be an absolute dogfight through and through to the very end. And while so far, yes, we've seen some LA blowouts, we've seen some Golden State blowouts, and of course, we've also had our share of hardwood classics. But honestly, it's just the ways in which the Los Angeles Lakers continue to win these games that I can't seem to wrap my head around. I mean, essentially speaking, this is a team that just started playing together on February 10th of this year. And well, they already have teams, no less the defending champions, doing pretty much everything they can to even try to adapt to their limitless versatility. And when we actually do look into some of the specifics of that versatility, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But if you guys are enjoying the 2023 playoffs as much as I am, do not forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications to never miss another NBA video down the entire stretch of the postseason. Okay, so to get back on topic with the Los Angeles Lakers, if there was one word to accurately describe the second half stretch of the season for this team, I at least think that that word should probably be unorthodox. Because whether it be, let's just say the streaky performances we've seen from some of their high caliber stars, maybe the ever-changing approach as to who is going to carry the load offensively for this team from game to game, and if you somehow don't agree with that, just look no further than the man himself in Lonnie Walker this series, or even some of the heavily criticized rotational combinations that Darvin Ham had been putting together from time to time this year. I mean, long story short, yeah, they are the epitome of abnormal. But if there was one norm I would say that was accepted within this team post-trade deadline, no matter the situation or the circumstance that they were facing, was ultimately who they would use to initiate their offense. And well, as we've seen plenty of this in the playoffs so far, that is almost solely reserved to the rights of either LeBron James, D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroder, or even Austin Reaves. Now honestly, anytime I think of D'Angelo Russell and the ways that he is contributing to this offense since his arrival, I can't help but also think of this interview with him earlier in the season.
You can do it as a point guard, or the other guys can do the
basketball player. You can't keep saying point guard. Basketball.
Are the things that all you guys can do?
Sure. Basketball player with this team, not really a point guard role.
And while some people took this statement from D'Angelo Russell as a little bit weird in a sense, and some even started to imply that maybe he just doesn't appreciate the role that he's being asked to fill with this team. But I mean, the reality of the situation is that he could not have been more correct with what he said. There is no true point guard up and down the entire rotation of this team. But the thing is that specifically in the different ways in which they create opportunities for each other is arguably the biggest reason why this offense just continues to get even more unpredictable with each and every game. Just take games 3 and 4 as a very quick example, because with the Lakers very clearly not being predicated on a one-size-fits-all approach in terms of how they try to generate their offense against different defensive strategies, Darvin Ham has pretty much had a successful counter to every different scheme that Golden State's thrown at them. I mean, in game 3, we saw them try to up the tempo and push the pace to break down Los Angeles' defense, which as we saw, the Lakers have more than enough young personnel who are ready to fill that need in that given situation. And then even in game 4, where we saw Golden State go to the largest degree of small ball that you possibly can to try to disrupt Anthony Davis's production, both on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. But as we saw him thrive in both high and low post situations, no matter what was thrown at him, it might just finally be safe to say that by the grace of God for Lakers fans, the alternate days curse is finally broken. But don't even think about quoting me on that. But like we said, with having so many options in terms of facilitators, it really seems like they have a better ability to adjust on the fly than any other team remaining in the postseason. And once they actually figure out what's working for them, they abuse the ever-living hell out of it. For example, again, when Golden State took somewhat more of a big approach in the front court for game 3, more so obviously trying to lock down the paint and force the Lakers to beat them at their own game with outside shooting, it was very clear from the beginning that all 4 of LA's initiators were still going to take the full initiative of driving to the paint, which in turn, as we saw, drew more double teams than we could have even imagined, opening up all of these wide open looks that they got from the perimeter that night. And because of this, go figure, LA had one of their best shooting nights of the entire postseason. But then, once again, when you try to flip the script on these guys in Game 4, they will undoubtedly match that high-paced basketball because, again, some people forget they were one of the highest pace of play teams in the entire NBA this year, but very clearly, they're also going to work with what's given to them because the very next night, they could come out and drop half of their points in the paint on you, as we saw. I mean, if you're not seeing the ridiculous offensive versatility they're displaying, I don't know what it's going to take for you to realize. But trust me, the versatility isn't just within the scheming. Because while at this point it feels safe to say that we can always expect Los Angeles to put up a decent fight against whatever defensive combination is getting thrown at them, however, it's funny enough because the same cannot be said in terms of who you actually expect to be putting up these numbers on the offensive side. And what exactly do I mean by this? Well, I mean, aside from even LeBron's below expected averages so far in the postseason of about 22.5 points per game, he is quite literally the only constant that the Lakers can rely on to put up these numbers every single night. And again, while inconsistencies like this typically only lead to major weak points within a team, the Lakers, again with this, have also made it one of their biggest strengths. And while very obviously none of us knew if this was actually going to work for this team until we actually saw them in the postseason, but yeah, this Golden State series has just about shut down every doubt of this team's depth. Because of course, with LeBron and AD being the consistent anchors within the operation of this offense, Game 1, it was D'Lo and Dennis Schroder that stepped up alongside them. Game 3, I mean, it looked like D'Lo was going to drop 50 right out of the gate. And Game 4, Austin Reaves drops 20 plus, and Lonnie Walker has the pure definition of a fourth quarter masterclass. The point being in all of this is that this team isn't just willing to ride the hot hand of their role players when they are in a groove, but instead, they're pretty much required to if they want even a remote shot at winning. And I mean, honestly, until it actually stops working for these guys, there's no reason to change what's already got them this far. But nonetheless, aside from everything that can be taken away from this team on the offensive side of the ball, their defense is arguably where they're thriving the most. And of course, while almost all of this one way or another ties into Anthony Davis and his ability to lock down the interior consistently, while also somehow being able to have as much of an impact as he does on the perimeter, you also cannot say enough about the different defensive lineup combinations that Darvin Ham is continuing to construct for different schemes. And truth be told, no matter where your credit actually wants to go for this, AD and these guys are continuing to post one of the best playoff defensive ratings that we have seen in a very long time. But the question still remains, will all of this end up being enough for a 2023 NBA Finals appearance? Well, as always, we'll just have to wait and see. Regardless though, you guys, I am also extremely curious to hear what you all have to think about the Lakers situation, so please be sure to let me know in the comments what has surprised you the most from their entire playoff run up to this point. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.